Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamada Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmedi Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Shanti Mantra. Om Apyayantu Mamangane Vak Pranaschakshushrotramatho Balamindriyani cha sarvani Sarvam Brahma Upanishadam Maham Brahma Nirakuryam Mama Brahma Nirakarod Anirakaranamastva Nirakaranam me astu Tadatmani nirate Ya Upanishatsu dharmaha Te mai santu Te mai santu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Page number 7. Om Janashrutirha Pautrayanaha Shraddhadeyaha Bahudayi Bahupakyaha Asa Saha Sarvataha Avasathan Mapayan Chakre Sarvata eva me annam atsyanti de. Om Janashruti ha. There was ha in the days of your Janashruti, a descendant of Janashruta. Pautrayana, the grandson of Janashruta's son. Shraddhadeyaha, who offer gifts respectfully with Shraddha, meaning that who felt that he was fortunate to be able to give something, fortunate that I am in a position that I can share something, I can spare something, fortunate that I have this attitude, this spirit that I want to give something. All of this is great blessing. To have something is a great blessing, To have money, etc. is a blessing. And then to feel that I have plenty is another blessing. Then for the desire to arise that I want to give another blessing. And there is someone to receive that. You may want to give. So naturally speaking, the one who receives his hand is lower. One who gives his hand is upper, isn't it? If you want to give water to someone who wants to drink water, then your hand is above. Meaning that one who is receiving has to accept a position of his hands being lower. Now, all of this is the one who appreciates the blessing of Ishvara in all of this. So that is how the Shraddha comes. It is not an ordinary thing. Swami says nothing is ordinary. That you can see is not an ordinary thing. That you can hear, you can talk, you can walk, you can think. Don't take it for granted. All of these are great blessing of Ishvara. And so this dhanam that I am able to give, I am in a position to give, have the right attitude, because attitude could be different. Who is this fellow? Sometimes people come and then they somehow make you, helpless and get things away from you. There are people who emotionally blackmail you and then, so you don't like it, but you give it. Meaning that when you give, you don't necessarily have a sense of fulfillment, a sense of, happiness or gratitude. Sometimes you feel you're helpless, or you don't want to give, but you have to give. Or sometimes also you just dislike that person. Get away from here. So giving can be with variety of attitudes. And that, thank you for coming to my door. Thank you for stretching your hand to receive. And thank God that I'm able to give. See, this is the Shraddhayadayam, Ashraddhaya Adayam, Shriyadayam, Kriyadayam. There is humility. Here also that maybe it should not happen that my giving should create in this person a feeling that he is being obliged. The receiver should not feel obliged. That's an ideal thing. The giver should not feel proud, and the receiver should not feel obliged. This is a rare thing, but Shraddha. So this is what Upanishad says. Hiyadayam, bhiyadayam, fear that I hope that I am not creating a complex in this person. Samvidadayam, with friendliness you should give. So Shraddhadaya, you can see the importance of dhanam or charity in Vedic culture. Yajna dana tapah karma. The dhanam or sharing, call it charity. Sometimes we didn't like that word charity, as though you are obliging somebody. Who are you to give, So charity, Swami didn't like the translation. Dana means, as I said, the sense of gratitude with which I share with others. Shraddhadaya bahudai. And when came the occasion of giving, he gave plenty, generously. So again, Swami said, you know how much you should give? Until it pinches you. If I have 100 rupees in my pocket, 5 rupees doesn't pinch me. 10 rupees also may not pinch me. 25 rupees starts pinching me. Meaning I feel a sense of, loss, pinch. So give until it pinches you. Bahudai. There's giving plenty. What is plenty depends on a given situation. 1 rupee also can be plenty for a given person in a given situation. And 100,000 also may not be plenty for a given person in a given situation. Bahudai. Give so that it pinches you. bahupakya aradhyasman namitya chakshate. That the people cook, thinking that I'm cooking for the guests. This food is meant for abhyagata, is meant for the guests who will come. It's my pleasure that people come to my home. These days you can't even go to somebody's home without appointment. And who is this fellow? Because there is calculated thing. You cook for X number of people, is all. And if one fellow also goes there, all kinds of problems happen. Now what shall we do? Bahupakya. Let people come. As many as they want, may they come. And it's my privilege that they get their food here. It's not my food or anything like that. It's all Ishvara doing it. I'm an instrument. So this is how a person earns punya. It is not simply what you do, but the attitude that is involved in doing is what determines whether an action is a virtuous action or a vicious action. I can give this with the vicious intention also. So since the king was a very virtuous person, therefore he earned a lot of punya, such that his luster, his aura spread around. And therefore they said, when the swans were passing by, one evening when the king is sleeping on his terrace, he saw the swans flying above. He said yesterday, Bhashyakara says that some rishis or devatas took the form of the swans and came to bless the king in a strange way. So one swan in fact praised the king by addressing the other swan, "Hey fellow, your name is Bhallaksha. You're so-called, you're supposed to have sharp eyes. What sharp eyes do you have? You just fail to see what is nearby. You fail to see this aura or luster of the virtue of King Janashwati. Don't you realize that if you touch it, you'll get burnt? The way you are flying looks like you don't see that. Who calls you Bhallaksha?" So that is how he was taunted. And that fellow retorted, "What do you mean? You were talking about this king? His virtue you're talking about? Do you know somebody called Raikwa? Sayugva Raikwa. Sayugva goes with him. Meaning Raikwa with a cart. Maybe that's where he was traveling. That's what he had. He didn't have anything else. In fact, he was a great sage, Raikwa. Had no possessions. He must be perhaps moving about with the cart and sleeping under the cart. So the cart was his home. He used to live under the cart. So haven't you heard of Raikwa, Sayugva Raikwa with a cart? Who is that? Whatever Raikwa does, whatever people do, all the virtuous actions people perform, all the punya that they earn by performing all kinds of dharma or virtuous actions, all that dharma and karma phala, the virtuous action as well as the result of the action, all of this fellow gets. Look at that. People do all kinds of good things in their life, and he gets the result of all of them. Meaning that he includes everything that these fellows do. Not that what they do goes to him, it may be said that way. But then, what he is, in fact, is not what he does. What he is. Within what he is. What he is on account of what he meditates upon. What he is meditated upon and what account of he knows, let us say. So in meditation, knowing and being is the same. There also. In knowledge, of course, knowing and being is one. Meditation also is you meditate upon a given thing so long that ultimately you become that. You identify with that. So culmination of any meditation for that matter, when there is an object of meditation which you meditate with devotion, then you slowly identify with that. You become that. And we see that. Sometimes we find that the disciples are so devoted to their gurus, serving 24 hours a day, and you can see they also start displaying some characteristics of the guru. They talk in a certain way, they behave in a certain way, they dress in a certain way, whatever I say. Not that they deliberately, that just happens. So that is, it's an upasana in a way, Serving this way, constantly you think, so Acharya Upasanam. Acharya Upasanam is meditating upon Guru. But that happens when you serve the Guru. This is an example I am giving. It's an example at hand, therefore, because you have people who do that here, serve the Guru 24 hours a day, take care of everything. Lift him from here to there and there to there. And so all the time they think of the Guru. What is he going to need? Oh, he needs this. He has to stretch his legs. He has to, whatever it is, variety of things he has to do, depending upon his abilities, disabilities. So to provide what is needed requires on the part of these people who serve, the caretakers or caregivers rather, to think and do it with love again, not just do it like a nurse will do it or some servant will do it. So when that is done, it's meditation. Because in your mind constantly the thought of Guru is going on while all these actions are being... So that's the whole idea of action. Whole idea of what you call worshipful action is that even though while you are performing the action, the thought of the one for whom this service is being done is always there. Without that you can't do what is right. If you are not attentive, then you may do something which may hurt the person also. It's quite possible. So when Swami used to tell us a story that there was an assembly of saints and they were discussing among themselves, and it was warm season. So in those days the fanning was done, with some fan would be hanging and then you have to pull it like that, huh? What is it? Pankha, theek hai. Pankha means fan, yeah. So you appoint somebody to pull that so that, there is breeze. So somebody volunteered to do that. Another sadhu. And then while doing that, he was also listening to the discussion that was going on. And then he became so absorbed in the discussion that his hands just stopped, And these fellows were perspiring. Somebody said, hey, come on, you get out. You can't do this job. When you're doing this job, that's where your mind should be. Although his mind was distracted in satsang, but then still, he was not attentive. So to do justice to what you're doing, to serving, you must be attentive. And think of the one whom you are serving, the comforts and requirements, needs, etc. That's called meditation. So when you meditate upon something constantly, that's what you become. That's the whole idea of meditation. Tam yatha yatha upasate, they say in whichever way they meditate upon him, that's what they become. So devo bhutva devan yajeta. So that nyasa. Prajanane brahma tishtatu, padayor vishnus tishtatu, hastayor haras tishtatu. Meaning that we are invoking different devatas and different limbs. Means you become that. So becoming devata, you worship devata, or when you worship devata, you also become devata. So point is that Raikva. What is the reason why the Raikva automatically gained the benefit of the virtue of what everybody else was doing, not by virtue of what he was doing, by virtue of what he was knowing, meaning by virtue of what he had meditated upon and what he had become. So that means he had become that Devata. Raikva, on account of meditation upon Ishvara in a certain form, or Ishvara with certain attribute, had become that. And therefore, that is Vidya here. On account of worshipping Ishvara as the one who absorbs everything, the absorber, the swallower, this Raikva meditated upon Ishvara as, so Ishvara has said countless attributes. So you take one attribute and meditate upon Ishvara. That is also meditating upon whole Ishvara with one attribute. So apparently Raikva had meditated upon Ishvara as a swallower, absorber. We'll see, swallower. Therefore, he became swallower, absorber. Meaning what? He swallowed the punya karma, the virtue of what everybody did. You follow? So the example is, just as a dice, that cube, we said yesterday, there are 4 dice or 4 cubes in a game of dice, and you play the dice. There is one cube which has 4 dots, it's called Kruta. Another one that has 3 dots called Treta, right? Another one has 2 dots, that's called what? Dvapara. And one has 1 dot, is called Kali. We said yesterday also that this Dvapara, the duration of Dvapara is twice as long as Kali. The duration of Treta is 3 times that as much as Kali. The duration of Kruta is 4 times that of Kali. That is 1, 2, that's why 4 dots are there. And therefore you can say that Kruta is what? 10. See, 1, 2, 3 and 4 add up is what? 4, 10. So Kruta is 10. And then Treta is what? Treta is what? 6. And Dvapara is what? 3. Very good. And Kali is 1. So please tell me, so 1, 2, 3 plus 4 becomes what? So does 10 include 4? Does it include 3? Does it include 2? Does it include 1? So then when you get that Kruta, it includes the rest, is it not? That's the reason why one who gets that, he is Vijita, he wins that dice. He wins everything. So whatever the other dice stand for, all of that is included in this, this Kruta. So one who wins that Kruta wins everything. Because that Kruta includes all the rest of the 3. So whatever the 3 dice has, all of that Kruta has. Is it not so? One has 1, other has 2, other has 3, and this fellow has 10 or 4. So this is a principle here. There is a principle which swallows everything, which absorbs everything, which in whom everything gets included. That's the concept of destroyer, The Puranas describe that this Lord Narayana swallows the whole universe in his stomach. Whole universe is swallowed by Narayana in his stomach and is quietly lying down in his serpent bed. That picture of Lord Narayana reclining in the serpent, so Shantakaram Bhujega Shayanam. That is the the scene of Pralaya. The water upon which is sleeping is the waters of dissolution. Well, water stands for all five elements, but then it dissolves because earth ultimately is dissolved by water, because it seems that earth is inundated by water. So the water stands for the dissolution, and so Narayana is presiding over that. So there is a description of pralaya where he has swallowed everything and quietly in his stomach. So therefore, when the creation takes place, where does it take place? You know how the creation takes place? How the Puranas describe creation taking place? First there emerges one lotus. Know that? From where? Yeah. That is where everything is there. From there the lotus emerges. Then Brahma appears. Then the whole universe appears. He swallows and he merges and emerging. Merging, emerging. This play is going on. So you can meditate on whatever you want. You can meditate on emerging also. Or you can meditate on merging also. So looks like a sage called Raikva must have identified himself with the deity of merger. So that is what? The destroyer. Rudra. Or Hiranyagarbha creates and also swallows. So Raikva, on account of meditating upon Ishvara, as possessed of the attribute of absorption or swallowing, had become a swallower of everything as though. And therefore, whatever virtues everybody earned, all of that also Raikva got, without doing anything. Means already he is. I mean, there's a way of describing how virtuous he is, how great he is. So greatness of Raikva was described in this manner. That this Jnana Shruti is one of the fellows who is doing a virtuous actions. There can be any number of Jnana Shrutis, this king. Whatever kind of virtuous actions they do and whatever kind of virtues they earn, all of that goes to this fellow. Now how great he is. So that is what the other swan said. Hey, you are insulting Raikva. The way you are describing this king, that his luster is, is everywhere and that he will be burned if you come in contact with that. So you are describing Jnana Shruti in terms which really deserve for Raikva, not for this fellow. He is nothing. What is his punya karma? Nothing. Look at Raikva. He possesses punya, which is sum total of all the punya or virtue performed by everybody. So, it's very interesting. So then we come to the next passage. We read that, so we'll read again here. Tamuha parah pratyuvacha kamvare enam etat sandam sayogvanam iva raikvam atha iti yomu katham sayogva raikva iti. To him the other replied, the other swan said, hey, who is he that of this kind of whom you have spoken this as though he were like Raikva? Who is this Raikva? Who is this Raikva? So the reply is given. Next one. Yatha krutaya vijitaya adhareyaha sanyante evam enam sarvam tadapi sameti yat kincha prajaha sadhu kurvante yastad veda yat saveda samaya etadukta iti. So who is that Raikva that you are talking about? So an interesting way of describing Raikva. Not how tall he is, how short he is, what kind of beard he has, and no, not that way. But likewise describe what he is. No, what he is something very subjective, What I am is subjective, is something I know. So what's the evidence, Swamiji, that there is a wise person? The question is, yes. So similarly also, what is the evidence that likewise as great as they're talking about? So says, as inferior ones get included in Kruta, when it becomes the winner. So when Kruta becomes the winner, everything gets included in the game of dice. So all virtuous deeds performed by people get included in this one, in this Raikva. So this is a way of describing Raikva, not by his name, not by his caste, not by anything else, by what he is. That's what ultimately counts. What ultimately counts is what you are, meaning what you have become, how you have shaped yourself. Sakratum kurvita. This Raikva must have shaped himself by constantly saying, I am so and so. This is ahangraha upasana. Aham means you, I am Hiranyagarbha, I am the swallower, I am Narayana, the swallower Narayana. Or I am Rudra, if you want to put it that way. So, Sakratum kurvi. So, he must shape his kratu, or this conviction. And slowly conviction is shaped and becomes so powerful that he becomes Rudra. So that is Rudra. How do you describe? Rudra is one who swallows everything. So here it is in the context of description of Jnana Shruti, who was described in the context of his punya or virtue. In that context, likewise we describe that he possesses a virtue who swallows all the virtues. The swallower of all the virtues. And is it something that is only special to Raikva? It says no. Anyone else who also knows what he knows. That's important. That this is for everybody. Meaning everybody has a potential of becoming a Raikva. Except that we have to do what Raikva did, of course. Anybody can become a doctor, become an engineer, become an IAS, this, that, X, Y, Z. Provided you do what it takes to become that. So meaning that simply shaping the resolve that I want to become a doctor. It's not then you have to do what is required to become a doctor also. That's called meditation. That's called the the relevant action you have to do. Live the life that way. So just as a child who wants to become doctor. So even when he's in the 6th grade, I want to become a doctor. So how many grades, what kind of points I should get, what percentage I should get, which school I should go to, in 10th grade, in 12th grade, this grade, NEET, this exam, all along, doctor. It's not that he becomes doctor in one day. It's a culmination of all that he's been doing for a number of years. Is it not so? So what we are also the culmination of what we have done. And we have the freedom to do now what they prescribe, then we can become that. So important thing is, yes tadveda, yat saveda, whoever it is who knows what Raikva knows. Meaning that anybody can become Raikva. Meaning that anybody, Raikva has become a given Devata who is a swallower. So anybody can become that Devata by identifying with the Devata. So that is a saving grace. This is not only confined to Raikva. Very often these questions are asked that when they talk about Brahma Jnanam, Tadhaita Drishit Vamaya Pratipede Pasyan Pratipede, Vamadeva, so that I am the self of all. Says Vamadeva. So So we respect Vamadeva, but we felt intimidated. Vamadeva can get there. Who are we? No? So when these examples are given, Vasishtha, Vamadeva, what is, Swami sings that. It's all right. It's for them. Who are we? Nothing. Varakaha vayam. We are just pitiable creatures. So no. Among human beings also, whoever knows this becomes Brahma. Meaning this is for everybody. Whoever sakratum kurvita. What is important is shape your conviction. Thus, Reikva is what? Reikva is because he shaped his conviction that way and did what was required to ultimately live up to that conviction. Meaning conviction should not be simply an intellectual thing, but then my life should reflect what my values are, what my goal is. The path should be also in keeping with the goal. It's not that my goal is Badrinath, I start walking in south direction. I can never reach that. So whoever does what Reikva did, whoever knows what Reikva knows, also has the same glory, that he also becomes a recipient of the virtue of all the virtues of all the people. That's the way of describing. Don't worry. Oh Swami, what I do, he gets it or what? Meaning that he gets, so this is called infinity which includes everything. Here it is Kruta which includes everything, that's all. An interesting story follows there. So Janashruti was hearing this dialogue between the swans. Tado Janashruti Pautrana Upashushrava. This conversation between these two swans, Janashruti this was the whole idea. This was the way to bless Janashruti. So he heard this conversation. Sa Sanjihana Eva. So says that he is lying down in his bed. He heard this conversation among these swans and thinking about that, brooding the whole night, I guess, he lay down there brooding over what these swans had said. Next morning he woke up, and when the king's, when the time of waking up comes, there are those minstrels, all these, the singers of glory who are always around the king. They're chamchas, you can call, whatever it is, who always praise them. You should have them. So they wake the king up by singing his glories. We go to temples, the same thing in the morning. Kausalya suprajarama purva sandhya pravardate uttishta narasardula tvailokyam mangalam kuru. Hey uttishta narasardula, O Layamangai man, please wake up and we bless the whole universe. So you praise his glories while waking him up. So this fellow was praising the king to wake him up. And thus when king woke up, Saha Sanjihaneva Kshattaram Uvacha. Then king addressed his charioteer, Kshatta, charioteer, or an attendant. Anga, Arihasayugvani Varikvam Atrayade. So, since king was thinking about this all along, when he says his chariot, hey, did you tell me about the Reikva or what? Did you tell me about the Reikva? Because king was all the time brooding whole night. So looks like he told me or you told me or what about Reikva? Or did you call me Reikva? Did you address me as Raikwa? He tells his minister, did you address me as Raikwa? I am not Raikwa. Sayastutyaha. He alone deserves this, the praise. He is praiseworthy. I am not praiseworthy. How can you call me Raikwa? So he tells his minstrel. So one was praising him in the morning and waking him up. So when you praise him to the sky always. So maybe the minstrel who woke up the king must have praised him in terms wherein the king said, oh, he is equating with Raikwa. He is praising me in the terms that really only apply to Raikwa. So you are calling me Raikwa? No, I am not that great. And so says, Yonu Katham Sayugware. So please find out. So he tells them that Kshattaram, meaning he tells his charioteer, go and find out the Raikwa, Sayugwa. Please go and find out the Raikwa with the cart. Find him out. So then that fellow asks him. The charioteer asks the king, who is Raikwa? King only knew what those swans had said, so he repeated. Yatha kruta, he repeated the whole sentence, just as when wins this kruta, then since everything that is, is included in there, so whatever punya people perform is included in Raikwa. That's the description. So, the king is so much, that conversation has so much influenced the king. That he talks in the same language. So when his charioteer asks him, who is Raikwa? Because he says, you find out Raikwa. Alright, how does he look like? How is Raikwa? King did not know. The only thing he knew about Raikwa is, whatever punya that performed by everybody goes to Raikwa. That is Raikwa. Go and find out. So, anyway, that's very interesting. So, the story continues. Sakshatta anvishya navidamidi pratyaya. So his charioteer went around. So he went to the town, and villages and places like that, in search of Raikwa with a cart. Navidamidi pratyaya. He came back saying that I did not know him, I could not find him. Charioteer returned saying, I could not find him. Tam hovacha. Then king told him, Yatra re brahmanasyad anveshana tadena marchayati. Hey, where did you look for Raikwa? Yatra re brahmanasyad. You should look for Raikwa in places where there is a Brahma, means Brahma Gnani. Look for Raikwa in places where a Brahmagnani is likely to be. Not in a city. Ekante aranye nadi pulinado virikta deshe. A Brahmagnani is a knower of wise people don't live in the midst of people in the cities and towns. Go to some solitary place like in a forest, solitary forest, or in the bank of a river. On a place like that, that's where they dwell, not in the cities. So go and look in those places. So iti kshatta anvishya tam vijana deshe. So when this charioteer was told in this manner, then he went to those places and ultimately found out. So this charioteer ultimately saw a person, a man. Adhastat shakrasya gantryaha. He saw a man sitting under a cart. That is a shelter. So when he wants to travel from one place, then he uses the cart. Rest of the time, underneath the cart. So he saw a man sitting underneath the cart, scratching something, Tama abhivada, tvannu bhagavah sayugva raikva iti. Then the Kshatriya, this charioteer, these people also are quite, quite evolved people, in the sense that he could recognize that this must be the person. And so asked him, Tvam Bhagavaha Sayugva Raikvaiti. Oh Venerable Sir, are you that Raikva with card? Aham Hare Itiha Pratajigna. Yes, I am that. When he showed a certain amount of, indifference. Yes, I am. What do you want? Why are you here? So in a way it was somewhat insulting to that fellow, but he didn't mind. The charioteer was treated with indifference by Raikva, doesn't matter. He was happy that he knew that this is Raikva. And that king wanted him to find out where Raikva is, and he is found, he was happy. Therefore the way he was treated did not matter too much. Sakshatta Avidamiti Pratyaya. From this whole thing, Kshatta, that chariot, yes, now I know who Raikva is. This is Raikva for sure. Taduha Jana Shruti Pautrayana. Then he must have come back and told the king the location of Raikva. And the reason why the king wanted to know where Raikva is was very clear. He wanted to approach Raikva seeking the knowledge. Because he was fascinated by the description of Raikva. The Raikva is so great that whatever virtues are performed by all the people, he becomes a recipient of that. And king wanted to become that. And you can become that provided you know what Raikva knows. You must have the same knowledge. So Raikva, by virtue of knowledge, had that glory of receiving the punya, not by any other reason. Not because Raikva had a cart, not because he's living under the cart, not because, what I'm saying is all those things may be of certain value. And Vivek Chudamani says that all sahakarinaha santi sahakarinaha deshakaladhyaha. For Brahma Vidya, the time, in the early morning, the place, Rishikesh, bank of the Ganges, etc., they are all helpful, but they are not primary means of knowledge. Ultimately, then you must have sadhana chatusha sampatti, that's the primary requirement. And then the Upadesha works. So of course, being in the good place, at a good time, all of this is helpful. But Raikva was not Raikva because he had a cart, or because he was living under the cart, or because he was scratching. He looked like Raikva was Raikva because of his knowledge. So it doesn't matter who he is. Now a king, can you imagine a king going to a fellow like this? A prime minister of a country going to somebody like on the street, and prostrating to him, please teach me. Can you imagine that? But king did, because he had the value for knowledge. So he was Jignasu. This all we learn from the story. So story conveys all these things to us. As to how when you want to gain knowledge, you must become humble. Must be humble. We will see in the 7th chapter of Chandogya how Devarshi Narada, the divine sage Narada, was so great. He knew everything in the world, every form of, every branch of knowledge he had mastered. So, but I who is so great as that, also I am grieving. I am at your feet. And so, it is not so much the feet, not so much the surrender, the form of prostration and surrender, etc., which also are helpful. It's a spirit that goes behind that. So in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna first describes a form. Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. Pranipata, dirgha namaskar, long prostration. Sevayam, you serve the teacher. Pariprashna, ask the questions at the right time, right questions. This is the form that Lord Krishna described. But then supplemented this with another verse. Well, Bhashyakara says that somebody can do this, prostration, seva, asking question, without a real sincerity within him. It's possible. An action can always be performed without sincerity. So merely form should not be the deciding criterion. Then what should be the spirit? Shraddhavan labhate jnana. So those things should be there. Oh, I have Shraddha. That will give me knowledge. No, that form also is required. The prostration, the seva, all of this is also required. Along with that, so you require form as well as spirit. Lord Krishna's form should be there in terms of prostration, seva, question. Not questioning, seeking to know. And what's the spirit? Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. The spirit. So similarly also important is the spirit plus the form, both. Therefore the king knows that the form also must be followed, because that's the tradition. So how do you express your spirit? How do you express the bhavana that you have in your heart? How do you express it? By your action, by the form. So form becomes a vehicle for expression of spirit. But Swami, I see fellows prostrating, they don't have it. Doesn't matter. Then also is okay. Meaning that this form will help you to cultivate that spirit. You follow? Ideally, you prostrate because there is this spirit of surrender. But suppose it is not there. As I said, you go and stand before God, nothing happens to you. So what happens? What do? You still do. You still pray, you still prostrate. You do whatever you do as though you had the right spirit. Fake it till you make it. So one should not underestimate the value of form, understand? Of course, the spirit, some people say that. Mahatma Gandhi used to say, if you don't have love for God, what's the point in repeating His name? And that's not right. Repeating His name is important. Someday bhakti will come. Without bhakti, what's the point in doing it? No. You do it. Then bhakti will come. You say Ram, 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 no bhakti. But Rama will bring bhakti. That is his job. When you repeat Ram, 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 he also has to do something, is it not? By repeating Rama, at least you are showing your intention that I want to have bhakti, I don't have it, I want to have it. And so then he has to respond. Today, he may take time. In case of that, the bandit, it took, I don't know, maybe 100 years, I don't know how long it took. A whole, what is it called? That Valmiki, the entail law must have taken so many years. But ultimately it worked. He was totally, he didn't know what Rama means. He didn't know the meaning of that word also. Perhaps he didn't know how to even pronounce it. Just he said Mara, 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 Mara. But then there is a Rama. Who is the meaning of that word? If you don't know the meaning has to come. So that's why Tulsidas says that I consider the name greater than the Lord Himself. Because He has to come. When you keep on uttering the name, someday He has to come. So form and spirit, ideally both should be there. You may say spirit is more important than form, but that doesn't mean form is not important. So then Jnana Shruti knows all this tradition. And therefore, Jnana Shruti approaches Raikva with a request for knowledge. Riktapānina pashyeta rajanam devatam gurum. They say you should not go to a king or a devata or guru empty-handed. So don't do that, Swami. So don't please. I am not suggesting that you should bring things, but this is what is traditionally said. The king knows his tradition. Therefore, he goes with gift. When you go to a sage, you must offer gift. Not only that, but you want some favor from him. So if you want to get favor, you should also offer something in return for which. So we said, that the verse, what is the verse? It says, Guru Sushrusha Vidya Puskalena Dhanena Va Athva Vidya. They say that you can get Vidya, the knowledge, in exchange of this. Guru Sushrusha Vidya, by Guru Sushrusha, by serving the teacher. You qualify to get the blessing of the teacher in form of his Upadesha. Pushkalena Dhanena Va. But you may not have an opportunity to do that. Then Pushkalena Dhanena, with plenty of wealth also you can get Vidya. If you don't have that, Athava Vidya, or you offer one knowledge and receive another knowledge. So this is how, in short, to receive the knowledge, something has to be offered. It's not money always, but something. In case of king, of course, he didn't have the chance to serve the teacher, nor did he have any Vidya himself to give him. So Pushkalena Dhanena Va, plenty of wealth you can offer to the Guru, in return for which you can get the Vidya. Now what to take for this Guru? So, Samitpani, Shrotriyam, Brahmanishtam. When you go to the Guru, then you should take with you something that is useful to him. In the olden days, I guess the Gurus and Acharyas must have been performing the daily homa, etc., and so they need this samit or fuel. So, symbolically, you take that as a gift. So what does Raikva need now that the king should take? So very interesting. King must have sort of sensed what it is that Raikva needs. Or so at least to begin with, he brings a lot of wealth. Looks like the Raikva treated that charioteer, the messenger, with a certain indifference or disdain. It must be because you have come empty-handed. What is it? Is that the way to come? Thereby implying that I need money. Why would he need money? So those tebi parivrajya asvikarad. See, Raikva is described as scratching, meaning he was not feeling too well. Scratching something, that means some disease in his body. Daustya, he was not swastha. Daustya means he was not well. Also, naturally, he was poor. So, still he had not actually, so he was fit to enter the garhastya, the life of a householder. Basically, a person who is like that should become a sannyasi. He doesn't have anything. And so, he should have taken sannyasa. So, it looked like Raikva's state of being would make somebody feel that this person should take sannyasa, parivrajya. So ideally, Raikva should have been a sannyasi with all the knowledge that he has and everything, but he was not. So on one hand, he was not well. On the other hand, he was poor, so that is a good case for becoming a sannyasi. And still he was not he did not accept sannyasa. Means what? Garhastya viprayam. That means that he had the desire to enter the life of a householder. That's how you sense. He didn't say that. Riktahastasya kshatvavajñakaranat. Also he said with disdain to this messenger, hey, yeah, I am Raikva, means that you fellow come here, Riktahasta, meaning that you are not for anything. Means that there is need for money. And his condition suggested that he should have entered the life of a sannyasi, which he has not, which means that he has intention of entering life of a householder. So two things are evident from the behavior of Raikva. That he wants to be a householder, and so what does a householder require? What does a householder? One wants not a householder, one wants to enter the life of a householder. What does he require? He requires a bride, isn't it? And what to do with the bride? People don't get married, Swami, let me first settle down, so that I can take care. So you require a bride, and you require what it takes to support a house, isn't it? So wealth. So from that conduct of Raikva, even that Kshatta, even that charioteer also recognized that here is a sage who has desires of entering the life of a householder. So he must have so reported the king. But maybe at least Kshatta could see that he needs money. So he must have reported to the king, and therefore king goes with a lot of money. And that's how the story continues. We'll continue in the next class. The story is very interesting, more than the upasana is there like anything else, That will be over in 10 minutes. So if you only talk about upasana, there is nothing much to talk about. But the story, there is something to learn, Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmede Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo